We got a special guest here, Grant from South Africa. It's great to have you back in Japan, Grant.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time, since 2019, 6 years.
Woo!
Yeah. It's really good to be back. It's really good.
Well, thank God it wasn't that long since we saw each other. I was when you invited me over in 22, right?
22, yes.
2022.
That's right, yeah.
That was an amazing trip, so thank you very much for having me over there.
Thanks for coming over. It was really, really a good time.
No. So people who don't know South Africa, tell us about, Bujinkan in South Africa. How big is Bujinkan in South Africa?
Okay, it's quite a small community.
Right.
We have three Bujinkan dojos.
3 Bujinkan dojos in the whole South Africa?
There's some other dojos, but there's 3 that we train in our group.
Okay.
And there's maybe 2 other dojos.
What's a popular martial art in South Africa?
Right now, it's your MMA.
MMA,
It's
okay.
very
Just like
popular.
everywhere on the world.
Yeah, exactly. MMA, jiu-jitsu.
And gunfighting, maybe.
And shooting.
And shooting, right?
But real tactical shooting, from pistols.
Right.
AR-15s.
Now, for the people who don't know the situation in South Africa, it's a little bit, I wouldn't say dangerous, but volatile place,
yes,
right?
It is. Very volatile. So your security, you have to be very careful when you're at home, at work, shopping, on the streets. So wherever you are, you have to be very aware of your surroundings, because the potential for violence or robbery is very high.
Yeah, I remember when I was there, I was, living in Japan, we call it heiwa bokeh here in Japan. Like we're just like slumbering in this peaceful, we're asleep at the wheel, so to speak. We don't even think about like getting robbed, but going over there or attacked in South Africa, you actually have to build like walls around your house.
Yeah. So security is optimum. You really have to design
with electric fences.
Electric fences.
You have electric fence around your house, right?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
Tell us about your security at your house.
Okay. So for my house, there's a solid wall. So fences you can just push over. People, and you need them quite high as well.
So if it's just a normal fence, they'll just ram it and push it over.
Yeah.
So you have a solid brick wall.
Solid brick wall.
You have to have a brick wall.
Brick wall.
Okay.
Yeah. And the electric fencing at the top, and it's mainly as a warning system.
Okay.
So you can get over electric fencing, but you normally have an alarm attached, so when the fence is tampered with.
So it's not to shock them and have them fall off the wall.
It can do, but there's ways past it. So a lot of the security people have found ways to get past fencing and all the rest. So, but the main thing is early warning.
Early warning.
Yeah.
You have a chance to start.
You have a chance. Yeah. You know someone's trying to break through the perimeter.
Right.
Yeah. So for myself, I've also designed my own entrance gate.
Yeah, the Star Wars gate. I saw it. It's beautiful. Okay. Hopefully we'll have some footage of it I can put up, right?
Yeah.
Now, what's different about your Star Wars
gate?
So
most gates, they take a while to open because there's one motor. So you push the button, the gate takes all this time.
And it takes forever to slide to the left or to the right, right?
To the right, yeah.
It's just one way, right?
So while you're waiting for the gate, you're actually vulnerable.
Super vulnerable, right?
Super vulnerable, yeah. Whether you're exiting or entering your house, you're sitting waiting for a gate to open or close.
That's horrible. Which is just waiting for the elevator music while you're like scoping the area, right? Wow. Yeah. But yours is different.
So if you've got 2 motors, the gate opens twice as fast.
Fast.
Yeah. And you also get to see both sides, where this side's always hidden.
I see.
So
where the gate is going into, you can't see.
You can't see that side. So if it opens this way, you get a clearer view very quickly on both sides of the road. And then when you leave or come back in, it closes fast behind you.
Right.
Yeah. Because one of the tactics is to put a brick on the track. So as the gate closes, it hits and it opens again.
It hits and opens again.
So you think your gate's closing, but it hits and bounces open, and the guys will come in. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. But your Star Wars gate, will it just shut? You have to put a brick on it or not?
It's harder for them to get there because the time's less. So they have less time to do that.
Because your gate is quite fast.
It's very fast. So I sped up the motor. So it opens quickly.
So you don't want to get caught in Grant's gate. That's funny.
And then obviously camera systems. People use camera systems.
And you also timed. Sorry about go back to the gate, but I found it interesting. Right, you also timed it so that you could have or you program it so you could have three different variations of the gap, right?
Yeah. So if a pedestrian's coming, you'll open just for a pedestrian.
Just like for one person to
get through. Yeah.
If you have a little bit bigger, than for a car.
Or I can open one side only.
Oh, you can open one side only. Okay.
As well. Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty amazing.
So it all just adds to extra safety.
Right.
And every time you use a gate like that, it reminds you to be safe.
Yes.
So,
yes.
So
now, why don't people make more like Star Wars gates like you? We call them Star Wars, but it's not a thing. I still see all the gates doing this, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I think it's a lot to do with training the Bujinkan. You see things differently.
Right.
So people just see it as a gate. I see it as a way of keeping the family safe.
Yeah, that's right.
So.
And I mean, there were so many things you taught me when I was there, like how they might bust through your wall and then cut the motor or something like this.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like as you get more clever, the criminals get more clever, right?
So they're always finding a way, like the electric fence. It's easy to go with electric fence.
Right.
I can explain how, but it's not good on camera.
Right.
But
Let's
electric fence is easy to get over.
Easy to get over, right.
So if people put a fence and they go to sleep and think they're safe, and then they're not actually safe. Yeah.
What's your next level of protection then?
So from then, first level is always awareness.
Awareness, right.
But for physical things.
But you're sleeping at night.
Exactly. So, well, you can. I've had situations where you wake up at night, you just know someone's in your garden.
You just know.
Yeah, you get a feeling there's someone in your garden, and then you see movement and that type of thing.
Really? So even if none of your system's working, you
don't want to rely on physical systems. They're a tool or an aid, but if you rely totally on them, they can be bypassed.
I know you had a dog as well, right?
Dogs are good. Dogs are very
You have
good,
one dog or two dogs now?
2 dogs now.
2 dogs.
Yeah.
So they're like your second, kind of early warning system.
Very good. Yeah, they're brilliant. They're really good at warning us. Yeah. My dog's trained if someone forgets to close the gate, because family sometimes forgets. The dog will come and call me.
Oh, really?
And say, hey. The gate's open.
He speaks South African.
She'll keep barking. She's quite. She's very protective of the family. So when something's out of place, she'll come and actually tell you. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So you get the dogs, and then of course on the house itself,
you'll have steel bars on the windows.
Yeah. All your windows?
You should have on most any opening window, and
doors.
Big enough for someone to get through.
Right. Yeah. On your doors too?
Doors as well. So you'll have a steel gate that you unlock first, and then you'll have a normal door.
Right.
Because it's easy to break through a door.
Right.
But the gates get broken through as well. They put a chain on and use a car and rip it right off the wall. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Nothing is totally safe, but it buys you time.
Right.
And it's like that early warning, and also a deterrent, because someone will look at a house without a gate and say, well, that's a bit of an effort. Let me go to the next house.
Right. Are there people who live without gates then?
There's people that still do that. Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I guess they're targeted more.
They're targeted more. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. I mean, just everything about South Africa was, for me, I was there teaching some Thai, like teaching, but sharing Sensei's feeling that I got. But I was schooled in so many ways in South Africa, like tactical driving.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like we would just sit in our car here, and we get to where we're going. We sit there. Let me respond to this message, and we'd be doing messaging or whatever. But you would never do that.
Same. Getting into a car, put your seatbelt on, get everything ready. By the time you've done that, you've lost all your awareness around you.
Right.
So we don't lock our seatbelts until we're moving.
That's right. Yeah, you taught me all that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
I never did that until I always never put my seatbelt on anyways, and told me put your seatbelt on, and I always put it on after I'm moving. But I didn't realize that was something that you guys actually practice.
Yeah, because you might need to get out quickly out of your car.
Right. Scanning the environment as you open the door.
Exactly the way you open the door as well. Most people open and look into their car. Right. But you should know what's in your car before you open the door. There's a window there. But as you open the door, use it to scan your environment.
You're scanning the environment as you're getting in.
Exactly. Yeah.
Start the car immediately.
Start the car straight away. So you can use it. You can use the car as a weapon or to escape. Yeah.
Right.
A car's a great weapon.
So the moment you sit down, boom, your engine's on.
Yeah, engine's on straight away. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. There were some other things that you mentioned that was really interesting to me as well. Driving at night. What's something interesting about driving at night in your car?
Driving at night, that is probably the most dangerous time to drive.
Right.
Because it's easy for people to hide because we don't have good street lights.
Right.
So the roads aren't lit up. So for someone to hide behind a bush, the most common thing is to break a window with a spark plug.
Oh yeah, a spark plug.
A spark plug. It's a sharp titanium point. So as they hit, the window just shatters.
That's an easy window breaker, isn't it?
It's an easy window breaker.
It's a cheap one. I'll remember that.
Exactly. So most of the weapons in South Africa are found weapons.
Weapons.
Found. You can just find them anywhere. Just on the street. So you can go to a shop and find a spark plug.
Right.
A bicycle spoke from a bicycle
let's
wheel.
Talk about that in a minute.
A rock from the side of the road.
We'll get into improvised weapons.
It's all exactly. But everything is you don't have to go buy it from a shop. You just find it somewhere.
You just find a weapon.
Find a weapon. Yeah.
That's real ninjutsu.
It's real
isn't
ninjutsu.
it?
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Yeah. But what I wanted to talk about driving at night again was the fact that you like to black out the cars when you're driving at night.
Yeah.
That was really interesting to me.
Yes, yeah. So your sort of courtesy light as you open your door,
right?
That lights up your car.
Right.
People can see how many people are in the car,
right?
What you're doing in the car, it also takes away your night vision.
Right.
So
right.
You lose your night vision.
You
lose your night vision. Yeah.
And
so
I
take the bulb out.
So you took the bulb, so you don't make any mistakes.
People keep switching it on. It's like, come on, switch it off.
Because you don't want to open the door and have like the whole.
Well, straight away you open the door and there's this burst of light.
Right.
And now you can't see anything beyond
around
your car.
Beyond that perimeter, right?
Exactly.
Plus, they can see who's in the car, what you've got in the car. Speaking of which, you never leave anything in your car.
You don't leave anything in the car.
Nothing.
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, because they'll break a window and just take your laptop,
Sounds like San Francisco.
but I mean, this happens the world over. There's crime everywhere. It's just quite concentrated in certain areas.
Yeah, it was definitely for me an intense experience there, having to be fully on, like all the time. Like you're fully on. All I mean, are you used to being fully on? I mean, you must be. You live there, right?
Because I mean, home invasions can start any time of the day. 3 o'clock in the morning, coming back from work, daytime, when people are out, when people are back. So there's no only in the evenings or in the daytime, it's any time.
So the criminals don't give you any time to relax.
Exactly, exactly.
Bastards.
Tactical driving as well as, again, with crew kind of space.
Right. Oh, that's right.
Space.
We were talking about, tell me about that.
No, coming up to a traffic stop, you always leave space to be able to go either side of a car.
Right. So you don't just go right up to the car in front of you and then you're boxed in.
You often get boxed in,
Right. Will criminals box you in like that?
They'll box you in as well, yeah.
Will they reverse into you? And
they'll often bump you and then you jump out, look at the damage. And then they, as you're looking this side, they'll come around this side, jump in your car and drive off.
Yeah, they're using that.
They're using that tactic
in America a little bit too now.
So that's the criminals that aren't,
that aren't violent.
That aren't violent. That's more of it.
Right.
But you can just get shot at while you're in the car, and you need to be able to get out of there. Yeah.
So you have to maintain a certain amount of distance so that you can, maneuver out of any situation, right?
Forwards, backwards, over the pavement.
Right. So you're always looking for leaving an escape route when you're driving. So you never want to get too close to the car in front, or make sure the guy behind you is not too close to you, maybe, if you can.
And then knowing how to drive, I had to knock someone over with a full lock. Okay. As you approach the car, full lock, bounce the car into and knock him, and then drive out the space.
Do you practice that?
I don't know how you practice it. I just did it.
That's what I was wondering.
I think
maybe you get Chris and you say, Chris, stand over here.
Can you stand over here and see if I can knock you?
Put a bodysuit on him or something,
So I think just, as Soka said, you just got to do what you have to do, without planning. So there's training, but there's sometimes in that moment you just discover something that works to survive that situation.
This reminds me of a story, and I'll just tell it real quickly so I don't forget it, and at least I've told it somewhere, right? So, it might have been after Sensei got back from South Africa, I think. Someone was telling me that he was doing a seminar in America, and they're having a get-together in the evening outside. They're having a bonfire, right? So the guy had to pick Sensei up and bring him there, and when they get there, Sensei's like, turn your lights off. So they turn the lights on, and they drove into the parking area without lights on. Yes. And then Sensei's like, turn the overhead light off. Exactly. And so they turned that off, and they said, open your windows. And they climbed out the windows, and they snuck up to the bonfire. Yes. And they're like, hey, everybody. And we're like, whoa,
where did you come from? Yeah.
So he was already, Sensei was practicing these things constantly, especially when he was overseas and trying to teach people as well, right? Yeah. But I'm wondering if that was after South Africa or before South Africa. But
I think it was before.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
You know the story I'm talking about?
I've heard of the story.
You heard it? Yeah. So maybe it was
I think he's always been doing this. Yeah.
he's a wild guy, I mean. Yeah. But what a great way to teach people, right? And just by demonstrating.
By demonstrating, yeah.
Here it is. That's how you do it. Yeah. And they snuck up on him, right? Yeah. All right, let's go to improvised weapons. Let's hear it. About I mean, you don't have to buy your weapons. You find them, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All so right. I mean, one very common one is a bicycle spoke. So your bicycle, you've got all those spokes. You break it off. Cut it off with pliers, take it out, and they just sharpen on the side of pavement.
Just on the concrete?
Just on the concrete, just sharpen it.
Sharpen it up.
And it's now a nice thin steel with a sharp point. And then on the back you can put either a cork or wrap a towel around
it. Wrap it with like a shiv or something.
Yeah, and that's just between the ribs, just from behind, right into the lung. And it's deadly.
I've seen a video of it. It's really horrible. Someone getting pierced in the heart, actually dying. Almost immediately. It's horrible.
So often in big crowds, you can't go swinging things around in crowds. Right. There's crowds of people, so it's a very, very sort of concealed weapon. When you walk past people, they just.
How long would it be? Like this long or something? Like two? I don't know how many.
About this long.
So just shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't have to go far.
Right.
You're not stabbing across the room. It's
it's not a lance. It's not like a Sir Lancelot.
And you want to hide it as well.
Right.
So if it's too
Too big. Could they hide up their sleeves?
Often in the actual pants.
Just in their cargo pants or something.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And quick retrieval,
boom,
out.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a scary.
Rolled up paper is quite common as well, like a rolled up newspaper.
Inside the newspaper?
Inside the newspaper. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. And you can just push with the paper and it just goes
straight through, yeah.
So someone might not be able to tell what he did.
Exactly, yeah. And then when the person walks away, you don't see the weapon. It's still hidden.
Still hidden in the paper.
So no one knows who did what. Yeah.
And it doesn't bleed profusely right away either, so it's just a spot of blood.
It's actually all internal bleeding that does the damage.
Dang. I heard they might actually I mean, it's kind of graphic, but target like kidneys and livers and things like this, right?
Yeah. But the lung is quite common.
Lung is, it's easy, big target, right?
Big target, yeah, through the ribs, yeah. But yeah, definitely kidneys as well.
I remember driving around there and it was like, I mean, I'm not saying it's scary, but it was a little bit. You gotta be a little bit, and the way some people look at you, it's like, oh no, that guy's definitely not thinking good thoughts about.
You can pick that up
about us,
Yeah. There's always like an opportunity if there's a space to do something, and people aren't paying attention, it could lead to crime. Yeah.
That reminds me of the time we were at that gas station.
Yeah.
You want to tell that story?
Yeah, we were on the way back to the bush.
We were on the way back
from the bush.
Yeah.
So we just stopped to fill up with some gas, and some guys had gone into the.
Now you always told me too before this. You're like, gas stations are real dangerous,
It's
right?
a dangerous spot. Yeah.
And you told me like you have to be careful because they're lit in the front and they're dark in the back.
Yeah.
And so they'll like hide in the back and just ambush you, right?
Exactly.
That's exactly what it was.
That's when people are taking money and all the rest. So, and that guy that walked past us, he was checking us to see if there was a space to either take what we had, that weren't paying attention, take a bag.
Right.
It doesn't have to be violent crowd. It might just, there's your bag. Thanks.
Snatch it, right?
Or there's your laptop. So when he was walking, you felt it.
Oh man, it was like a shark coming.
Exactly.
Like I spotted him like halfway across the parking lot. And he was just coming like a beeline. I'm like, what's up with this guy, right?
Yeah.
And there were like 7 of us or so and he's just coming like a shark. Boom, and it was like, holy, what's up with this guy, right? And he just walks right into our circle.
Right into right
around the van. The door's open, and he goes to jump into the van, right?
Yeah.
And then I took a step forward, and then I was like, oh, and then right then you're like, wait, and I was like, oh shit, that's right, man. I'm like, whoa, because I don't know.
But the thing is, once he realized that there was no space, he just moved on.
Yeah, he did. He looked back and he laughed at us, and he was like, ha ha. Yeah. And then he went back to a car back there.
Yeah, there's a car with his other guys waiting there.
Yeah.
So it's very common to be in groups. It's not one-on-one.
And you can't lay your hands on this guy because while you're trying to fight him, the other guy's
exactly. Yeah.
And then you're all your attention on this guy.
Exactly.
They're gonna just come and clean you up.
And that happens often with people getting attacked from behind while they're dealing with one situation, or one person distracting at the traffic light with flowers or trying to wash your window, and while
you're like, stop washing my window, and all of a sudden
other guys come from the other side. Yeah, so it's very common, like a kyojutsu.
Yeah, the kyojutsu over there is pretty amazing. I would imagine from the criminal side.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean they just get. They're trying to survive, right?
It's survival. Yeah, it's really survival.
It's a sad state. It really is. I mean, seeing the slum towns and stuff as we drove by and stuff.
You can see the poverty there. It's really.
It's really heartbreaking.
It is.
But that was.
And living in those areas is very scary. For the children that live there.
Remember the guy? We should tell that story. That was funny. There was a guy that was in Chris's dojo. I think he lived in the slums. Is he still training?
Yes.
He was a great guy, wasn't he? Talking about how his dinner was stolen out of his house. Remember that?
I saw you.
Yeah.
So it's in all levels. People think it just happens in certain areas. The crime is through all levels. All levels.
That story was so. I mean, it's not funny, but it was. It's got a humorous. They were cooking some sort of a meat dish on their stove in their house, and like. They were in the next room, like you're just talking or whatever. They go check on the pot. Oh, it's that. They go to the next room. They're talking, and then they go over there, and then the whole pot is gone. The whole pot's gone. They didn't even hear someone come, whether the door or window. Who knows? And they just took the whole pot of food and took off.
That's just for food. See, the people are.
But they didn't even hear. That's like a ninja. Somehow they came and silently stole the pot of food. Yeah. They had no idea.
Well, people get into the house, take TV sets, they'll clean the whole house out. And go and people wake up in the morning, it's like, where's all my stuff? That's how quiet they can be if they want to. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I thought the other story he told us was funny
So
too.
there's guys that'll drive a truck right through your front door and make a big noise. And
What's that?
they'll drive a truck right through your front door and make a big noise.
Right.
And the other guys will just be super quiet. You won't even know they're there.
So you've got two different types.
Different types. So.
Poof.
The story of this truck who got gassed.
Yeah, that's another one they do. They
What's
burn. I'm not sure the exact chemical, but they burn a chemical outside your window, and it goes in and while people are sleeping, it kind of puts you to sleep.
It makes you just kind of like,
it just makes
you can't get out of bed, you're like
out,
lethargic, huh?
Exactly.
Oh man.
You don't even know, that it's happening. Yeah.
Wow, that's terrifying. That's terrifying.
Yeah. In some ways, it's good because they don't have to kill anybody.
That's right. That's
so
right.
no one's had. You wake up with a headache, but no one had to die.
And
in the
no one
process,
has to die, right?
Yeah.
And I think you really have a different view of like life and death when you're over there, and also like crime as well. I mean, it changes your opinion of like we're gonna fight these people, right?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, everyone's
definitely.
talking about fighting. I just made a video about this. Sensei was doing this. We'll talk about that some other time. But like everyone who does martial arts gets in this like fighting mentality. Like we're so quick to like, this guy comes in my house, I'm gonna fight him, right? But that's
not the plan. Yeah.
Super dangerous.
Super
right?
dangerous. Yeah. You're putting yourself in the danger. So you need the skills if it gets to that space to defend yourself.
That's
but there are many things you can do before it gets there.
Right.
So that's what we're looking for: is how to calm things down, how to avoid the danger. But if it gets to the stage where you have to defend yourself, then you have the ability and the training and the weapons that you need to do that. But
now, I know
to take a life unnecessarily is not really. Well, for me personally, it's not what I want to do.
That's right. That's right. Now I know when you're out and about, you're strapped most of the time.
Most of the time. But I do sometimes. I do sometimes I don't. But most of the time, a firearm is a useful tool to have on you.
Now there was one time that you didn't have your firearm on you, and you had to do some jiu-jitsu, right?
Exactly.
Tell us about that story. Tell us about that story.
I was at a gas station again, like a gas station again.
There
so
you go.
It's the same.
Gas station.
And I was putting. I thought I had a flat tire, so I was with the attendant. We were trying to figure out if this tire was flat. We're trying to put some air in the tire.
So he's down there looking at the tire.
Both of us. We're down there.
You're both on the ground looking at the tire.
We're trying to figure out.
Ooh, that's a dangerous spot.
And it's a dangerous spot. So
did you? I mean, okay. So tell me. I'm just curious.
Yeah. So obviously, the way you bend over and look at stuff, you can be fully absorbed and you don't know what's going around you. But
right.
If you use the way you kneel and the way you position yourself.
So you were kneeling in a certain way,
just for balance, which makes sense. We do it all the time in training. And then when I was looking at the tire, I got this feeling that this really is not good. Something's happening behind me. And I just moved to the side, and there were two guys coming. This time with screwdrivers.
Screwdrivers, and this is also a great
weapon.
Do they sharpen it at all, or is it?
Yeah, they sharpen them. Same thing on the cement.
Same thing. Okay, so it's basically an ice pick
it's
or
basically
like a shiv.
Yeah, and a screwdriver about that long.
Wow.
So
that's
the blade part.
So the handle's here.
The handle's here. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so that's not a screwdriver. Is it?
It's a little.
Oh my God! All right, so they're coming up with these.
So they came between the fuel pumps. They were using it as cover. They were coming through there, and I looked at them, and I just saw them before they got to us. So, look, the vehicle was
here. How far away were they when you noticed?
I would say I noticed them before they got to the pumps, and as they got to the pumps, so about 5 meters.
Okay.
5 meters
not very far.
Not very far.
Especially
so
if they're
I had
to
I had to quickly sort of from that kneeling position get around to the side of the car.
So you put the car between you and them.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
perfect,
it's one of the principles.
It's one of the
put something between.
Get off the X.
Get off the X.
And get an object between you. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it happened so quickly because I kind of moved around the car, and the attendant that was helping me, he got such a fright, he just fell on his back.
So he didn't know what was going on.
He didn't know what was going on.
And when he looked up, here were these two guys with screwdrivers, like right on him.
He fell over flat.
He fell over like.
Total shock.
Yeah.
And then there was the time I didn't have the firearm, so I basically put my hand on the bonnet of the car.
So you didn't have your car, you didn't have your gun on you, right? Okay.
And then I did the basically.
Oh, you
like
I'm drawing.
I'm drawing now.
I'm drawing, right? Okay.
Because they had screwdrivers in their hands.
Right.
It could have been dangerous if they had firearms, then I wouldn't have done that because they would started shooting.
Right.
Because they had screwdrivers, they could have thrown them maybe, but still. But if they had firearms, I wouldn't have done that because if I'm going for a gun and they've got firearms,
they would just open fire on you, right?
So they both had screwdrivers. So I put the hand on the bonnet, went like this, and they both stopped. And then they looked at each other and like, should we, shouldn't we? Okay, and they turned around and went back.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that, do you?
They weren't too sure either. So they could have called my bluff and come for me.
Right.
But at least I had a car in the way and I could have,
run something
or do
something.
Escape,
yeah. Run into the station. Now, if you were running the station, would they follow you into the station too?
Yeah, sometimes they will.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no fear. There's no. The guys aren't scared.
They're not scared.
They're not
So you'd have to
scared.
lock yourself in a bathroom in there.
You'll need somewhere to stop them if they really wanted to take it further. Yeah.
Right. Now, say, what's the chance? Like, say, if you complied and you say, okay, here's my wallet, here's everything I have. Would they still?
If you comply, most of the time it's fine.
Most times. Fine.
Sometimes they'll do a lot of damage first to intimidate. So a lot of it's intimidation tactics, and people get seriously hurt to force them to comply.
Right.
So very often, what I recommend is to comply before the violence. When someone's approaching you, just give them your phone straight away, before they have to beat you up and kick you to the ground and pull the phone off you.
Do you carry like burner phones, like I shouldn't say burner phones, but like fake phone? You're like, here's, take my phone. And it's like an old one that doesn't work.
You could do that, so that you could have. I definitely carry like a fake money pouch, but the phone is, we always got our phones with us. So.
Right.
But I mean, it's backed up in the cloud.
That's right.
So it's just a phone.
Right.
Because you've got to be happy to throw your phone as well and hit someone with it. So it's just a phone.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Everything is just an object, isn't it?
Object. Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing.
And
nothing
a
is.
phone is a great shuriken. it's really good.
They're getting thinner and thinner.
Exactly,
I guess the new
exactly.
iPhone's going to be super thin this year,
exactly.
like really nice shuriken.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
so just try and prevent the danger. It's like before it's on you, because once it's on you, it's really.
It gets real quick.
It's the same with the lions in the bush and the elephants.
Oh, yeah,
you don't let them get on to here before you start managing the distance and.
Right.
All the rest. Okay.
That's a whole other story. We could talk about going out in the bush with Andreas and him just, hey Paul, when he says lions, I'm like, yeah, sure. He drives like 5 feet from this pride of lions. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Andreas. It's these big male lions like looking at him. Wow, that was something else, man.
And the criminals have a similar look in their eyes, eh?
They do. They're wild.
It's got that look of like, it's a predatory.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. You've had several experiences. One I found interesting was the one when you're in the restaurant. You used to have a Thai restaurant
Yes,
with your wife, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened on that one?
This is a very similar thing. I turned around to go back to the counter to hand in the order, and I got a feeling something's not good at the door.
Right.
Turned around, 3 guys at the door with guns.
So they'd come in and draw.
They were probably watching for a while. They often sit across the road in a car to see what's happening. They waited to almost closing time. So then there's more money.
More money, less people.
Less people have left, that type of thing. So as I was handing in the next order, I just okay, something there. And then 2 guys at the door, 1 guy out by the window guarding. And I had my firearm on me then. But, it was like,
you can't. They got the drop on you.
They got the drop on you already, so you can't go and draw. And also, you're in danger the life of everyone in the restaurant. My family was working there. We had guests, clients. So they came in, and straight away, intimidation. Straight away, you could see that they weren't that well trained, because the one guy was cycling his gun.
Cycling his gun?
And
really?
it's like, there's nothing in there.
Right, it's an empty gun.
It's an empty gun, but the sound of that is very intimidating.
I see.
So they're cycling, shouting, making noise, but I could tell their firearm was empty. Other guys, I couldn't tell because I
that's the problem,
know what his gun was. So he was the guy, the big noise, and the other guy was more dangerous.
Right.
He was like.
Was he calmer?
He was the calmer guy checking everybody. And,
oh boy, okay.
And he had
so one guy was the intimidator, and one of them was actually the enforcer.
Yeah. So as soon as he came up to me, I didn't want him to take my firearm either, because then they'll use it for other crime.
Right.
So as soon as he came up to me, I took my phone and pushed it out to create that space. And also I'm compliant. There's my phone. Take my phone.
Right.
And then he started to try and search me.
And it would not be good if he found your gun as well.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it's whether they would damage you because of your firearm, thinking that you want to, But the thing is that firearm will be used in crime.
That's right.
So that gun will now be taken and be used for other robberies or other crimes. And then also I don't have a firearm anymore, which I need.
That's right. That's right.
So I don't want to lose it.
You don't want to lose it, right?
Exactly.
So what did you do?
So he started to search me,
right.
And so basically I just slid down the wall, as I slid down, and I used my elbow to push the firearm around to that side. And so as he
were
searched,
you hip carrying?
I was carrying the hip, yeah.
Okay, so you wanted in your back or something. You wanted to get to.
Well, yeah. Well, we carry it in different places depending on if you're driving or at home or whatever you're doing. So I don't have a standard place I always carry the firearm.
That's interesting too, because like everyone in America probably have like a
standard
place that they carry it on their right or
left, yeah. So it will change where you are and what you're doing.
Okay.
Yeah. And when you're working in a restaurant, you don't want people to feel threatened, carrying a gun on you, and so you want to keep it. Well, our law is that it has to be concealed.
Right.
Unless you're a policeman or in the security industry.
But if you're in a restaurant, you might have an apron, right? Which is good frontal carry.
Frontal carry, yeah. So as he was searching, I just pushed it around to the back and then leant against the wall so he couldn't get his hands to the back.
Was he frustrated about that, or did he just think you were
well,
just
the way I was doing it,
scared or
it was
something?
like just I was.
Are you acting like you were
acting
super
just
scared, and
just
like
that,
you're going to collapse or
collapse,
something? So you got to be a good actor, right?
Yeah, exactly. And if you slide down the wall a bit, now he's got to try and bend. So he
Bend
didn't-
over.
So it was like a bit of a hassle for him.
Here's my phone.
Here's my
Take
phone,
it.
take my phone,
Take
take
it.
it,
And
exactly.
you start like
Exactly.
collapsing, right?
Mm.
Interesting.
And then when we went to the other side, then I just moved again, and he felt there. So then he was happy I was unarmed. And then he turned his back on me and went to the counter. I could have drawn my firearm then because he had his back to me.
Right.
But he had his friend plus the other guy outside. So
Now a lot of people say, why didn't you draw and shoot him there? Well, you know.
well, the thing is, bullets go all over the place, you know.
Right.
So I could have shot him, but there's no guarantee I could have stopped the other guy. I knew
Because
the
there's three.
one guy was
empty.
Was empty, but the guy at the door, I had no idea what he
Right.
was.
And was he carefully watching as
He was
well?
watching. He was at the door watching inside, outside. So if anybody
man.
came by, he could deal with them all inside. So
if he saw you reaching, he might start
he
firing
might start
as well.
firing. And now there's people in the restaurant
And your family.
and family. Yeah. So
that's-
if he starts firing at me and it misses me or hits somebody else or bounces
Yeah.
off a wall, ricochets.
Ricochets, yeah.
And all the rest. Yeah.
Because your buildings are mostly brick over there, right?
Yeah. It will ricochet. Yeah. It's all brick. Yeah. And it's not like the movies where you shoot someone, they just die.
Right.
You know, you shoot someone, they can shoot back at you.
Right.
You know,
That's no
so
good.
if you're very lucky and you get a perfect shot, you can probably stop them quickly. But people don't just die.
right.
So-
Well, that's why I guess they teach in American law enforcement that you keep shooting until they don't
until
move.
until the attack stops. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So,
That's it.
so you can shoot the guy. I can guarantee the hit because we've trained to shoot, but it's not going to guarantee that he's not going to shoot back. And if you've got your family behind you and other people, and I didn't feel it was necessary in that space because they didn't come in shooting.
Right.
You know, if they come in shooting, we just had to do what we had to do and shoot back. But they weren't shooting yet.
Are there groups that come in just
There's people that come and just start shooting.
blazing?
Yeah,
really? Okay.
That's happened as well. Yeah.
Oh, really?
They
That
don't
happened
give-
to
they
you as well?
No, not that. Yeah.
Oh.
Not there. Yeah. But that has happened often where they'll just start shooting into a car before
Right.
they go.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to Dylan. We were there, and I have these interviews of even with
Yes,
you when
yes,
we
yeah.
were in South Africa. Maybe I'll just upload that one as well for fun because just the environment is different, right? And Dylan, you know, was talking about how he's a funny guy, man.
He's a funny guy.
But like how everyone in South Africa has experienced some sort of theft or crime or someone putting a knife to them or whatever, right?
Yeah. Everybody. Yeah.
Like everybody.
To different levels.
Different
different
levels,
levels. Yeah. But I don't know anyone in my sort of at work, friends, family that haven't been exposed to crime.
Right. But everyone survived it, right? That's great.
Not everyone.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, that's sad to hear.
Yeah. And I that's why I'm so grateful for Hatsumi Sensei's training because I really feel that the approach I had in those moments. I mean, I won't say I'll do the same again, but in those moments, it felt like the right thing to do. Just to go with that moment, the way when people say, "Why didn't you shoot?" Because it doesn't feel right. You know, and it's to go with that feeling instead of overanalyzing and trying to plan everything and do this and that. It just really felt that wasn't the time to shoot.
And like, I've been practicing shooting for 3 years. I can outdraw him, or I can get him in the back, and then I get the guy in the door. But then it never goes as planned, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's very different. I mean, now they've got a family in that. It's different when you've got a family, you know, and you want to keep them safe.
And other families too.
Other families, I know.
Exactly. I mean, it's like I get it. Especially now that I have a family, I'm like,
the shop next to us, there was I think like a bakery store, and they have coffees and bakery and cakes and everything. And they had a robbery about 2 months after us. And there was a full-on shootout in the store.
Really?
Because one of the guys drew his gun.
One of the workers.
And one of the guys who was there having a coffee.
Oh, okay.
So he saw the guy, and this is what was said. The guys were leaving.
Oh.
They'd already robbed everyone, taken all the phones, taken everything. They were leaving. He decided he's going to shoot them. So he shot one of them. The other guys turned around and started shooting back into the shop.
Oh, no.
Luckily, no one died. A few people got shot, but there's a video of a little girl sitting at the counter.
Oh, no.
There's a bullet hole right next to her head.
Oof.
And that's on video. And she could have died. I mean,
it was a miracle.
It was a miracle they missed it.
Right.
A little 6-year-old girl that could have been shot because this guy wanted to shoot these guys when they were leaving.
Over things.
In a crowded room, you know, over just some phones and a bit of money. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's...
Yeah, and this is, I think, why I also appreciate Hatsumi Sensei's teachings is that again, like I said before, that people are they start doing martial arts and they get fixated on being strong or being able to, do violence. And they forget that there's this other way to move as a ninja.
Exactly, yeah.
To preserve life.
Yeah,
right?
That's it. Yeah.
Not only yours, but even these fellows, maybe they're going to have a turn of a new leaf or whatever. I mean, I don't know. I get it in the moment. You're so angry, you probably want to shoot them.
I don't think there's no anger for me at that moment. I think anger is what will cloud you. Because if you start getting angry with people, they'll pick it up, they'll feel it. So it's almost like you become their friend. It's weird. I don't know how to explain it.
Right, yeah, I
get it. You just move with them, and there's no aggression or trying to beat them or to control them or to be angry with them.
Right.
It's just to move with.
But like that guy who took the shot. I mean,
exactly.
he was probably pissed
angry.
off, right? He was angry.
Why have you taken my phone? Why have you taken my money? I'm going to shoot
I've got a gun.
I've got a gun. I'm going to show you.
Yeah.
And the problem is.
And other people got shot, and they could have gotten seriously injured or even died.
Yeah. Luckily, no one died, but people got shot, and that little girl missed her head.
And when you see that people got shot, it's like, people think, oh, well, he went to the hospital, now he's okay. But maybe he has lasting damage to his arm or his leg or his knee.
Exactly,
you know what I mean? Like, in trauma, right?
And the cost.
Yeah.
I mean, medical is not cheap these days.
Right.
So it's just a big mess, So.
Yeah, the medical. And it's not cheap in South Africa.
It's not cheap, yeah.
And you also have to do your own triage there, right? Because it takes forever for an ambulance to come there, right? So you're up there, putting tourniquets on and trying
the one time I wasn't at the restaurant and guys broke in, same thing. 3 guys at the door, and I wasn't there. And then I got a call from the restaurant, meet us at hospital, because my brother-in-law had been stabbed, cut in the head. And I just sit there helping the doctor stitch his head back in his arm.
wow. That could have been mortal if he'd gone to the neck.
Because he was working as a chef there. They took the chef cleaver, and they hit him in the arm. They cracked the bone.
Oh, cracked the bone with
the cleaver.
Wow.
And then they hit him in the head and split the head open.
Wow.
Yeah. And that was a month after what had just happened.
Damn.
And I was telling my family, please don't open a restaurant. And they were open a restaurant. We've got to have a restaurant. And I said, don't open a restaurant.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. And we've got to have a restaurant. We're doing this.
How long did you keep that restaurant open then?
Well, after that, I said, we're closing it now.
We're closing. Okay, I was going to say.
You can see, it's just too dangerous. You're too exposed. You're too exposed to the violence there.
There's still, I guess restaurants would be a prime target.
Because you're working late at night.
Do you have to, do restaurants now have like security at the restaurants?
We have security gates, but it's easy to get through.
Easy to get through.
And they wait for guests to come in, slip in,
Oh, with them, just like as part of the party.
So it's a deterrent, but there's nothing that's fully
bulletproof, so to speak.
Yeah. So,
man. So tell me, the sensei's art has influenced your life and survival in South Africa.
Definitely. I think if I was doing maybe MMA, I'd be dead by now.
I'm going to take this guy down.
I'm going to take this guy and arrest him to the ground and lock him up, and his friends is going to stab me in the back. Yeah.
Right? Because they're never alone. Like you're saying, there's 3 guys, right?
3 guys, both times were 3.
They're smart, right?
Exactly. And the petrol station or gas station were 2.
2, right.
Yeah, and
so
once at my house there were 8.
What's that?
At my house there were 8 when they came.
There were 8. So that's a whole nother story.
It's a whole nother story. Yeah.
So we could tell it. If you want to tell it, it's a long story.
It's a long story, but I mean.
So 8 guys came to your house.
Yeah, and that's so they. What sort of training are you going to use for that?
Right.
Yeah, were
you sleeping? Were you awake?
Oh, okay. So that was interesting because they were already in my house when I arrived home.
So there were 8 guys armed in your house, and you rolled up on your house and you didn't know it, and you walked in?
I drove home with my wife from work, so we still had the shop then.
Right.
And we drove home, and as I drove in, I thought, there's something wrong in the house. It just doesn't feel the same.
Right.
And so we both stopped. I looked at her, and she looked at me, and was like, we both like, there's something not right here. And as I opened my door, these 2 guys ran out of the house.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and I could see behind that there were people in the house.
Man.
And they came out with guns running up to the car.
So they were already drawn on us.
They were already drawn and running on us.
Okay.
So I had my firearm out already because I knew.
So you already had your gun in your hand.
As I opened my door, I cycled the firearm so they couldn't hear it.
Right. I see. So you used the
door as a shield.
The door as a shield and the noise of the door opening to rack around.
Yeah.
So you don't keep one in the chamber then?
It's a debate a lot of people talk about. These guys say you must have, mustn't have.
Right. But
for me personally, because I don't. I mean,
Right.
Like just straight away, when I knew the danger was straight around, I didn't wait and maybe not. Just as soon as I felt something was bad,
you racked it and got it out.
Got it
All
out
right, so
straight
you were
away. Ready for it, yeah. See,
but again, you have
see
your family in the car,
yeah,
and they're pointing their guns at you.
exactly. So the thing was, we actually had there were 4 of us in the car, because the people that were working at our restaurant, they got out the back of the car and they were walking.
Oh, so they're already out of the car.
Yeah, and my wife and I stayed behind because we were like, something's wrong here. And they got out the car, they're already walking.
Oh, no. Okay,
So when they came out, they put them on the ground, guns to the head.
Oh man.
And now they got guns to the head. I'm by my car. Should I shoot? Shouldn't I?
Right.
So then guns to the head came around. I sat back down on the firearm.
You put your firearm underneath your leg.
So I got it there. Put the hands up, and the guy came to the door out of the car, and then they started to talk what they're going to do, take us back into the car. In that time, this was interesting. It was very interesting because as he turned around, because he had pointed the gun at me and I was complying.
Right.
He turned around to see what his friends were doing with it, and I took the gun back and I put it to the back of his head. And I was actually squeezing the trigger, and I thought, okay, if I shoot him, what about everyone's guns to their heads on the ground? So I sat back in the car and I put the gun under the seat now.
Under the seat?
Yeah,
Okay.
so, because I thought if I can get them out of the house to go to an ATM to give them money,
right.
and I drive them to the ATM, the gun's back under the seat, then I can actually get back to my firearm.
Right.
Without them finding it on me.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. So you wanted to get it off your body somewhere.
So they can't find it, yeah.
Okay.
Because I knew they were going to search me again.
Right.
Because that's what they do, they search for weapons.
So they're not untrained, are they?
They're not untrained. A lot of them have got military training. A lot of them have, yeah. So I basically hid the car, and I thought, let me get them away from the family, get them back in the car, let's go and get money. But they didn't want to do that at all. Like,
they didn't want to do that at all?
No, they wanted to take everyone in the house, yeah.
Oof.
So that was rough. And my son at that time was 3 years old, and I knew he was in the house. So I didn't want to start shooting, and then he gets shot, or the people that were on the guns to their heads on the ground get shot. So it was a very difficult thing. You know, if I was by myself, I probably would have shot and moved and done something. But
that's right.
It was.
You already had 2 guys hostage.
Yeah.
So I think they took you in the house, tied you up, something like this, or did they rough you guys up, or what?
Yeah. So this was another interesting story with Hatsumi Sensei, because his teachings are just everywhere. You know.
Yeah, I remember. When you would come, Sensei would say, "Hey, Grant, tell me that story, right? Tell that story to everybody, right?"
Yeah. So whether it's in a book, whether it's in his taijutsu, whether it's in his videos, he's always got messages for us and like interesting, what do we call, like almost gifts or things that can assist us in life. It's just so amazing how he gets the teachings across. Right. So when we eventually got into the house, because they searched everyone, took us all into the house, put everyone in the room, and then they were obviously there for money, because that's what they want. They want money. And the first thing is, where's your guns? Where's your guns? I don't have a gun. No, where's your gun? And that's why you keep everything hidden. I don't have pictures on the wall with me with a gun, or like stuff
with your prized guns up in there,
or stuff lying about
or your gold chains out in your pictures. Right.
Yeah,
this is really interesting, right? So like you don't even have pictures of that in your house because you don't want people to see that.
Yeah, because if you're standing with a gun or on the range practicing, they're gonna go like, well, where's your gun? And
it reminds me of like social media nowadays, where people are like, yeah, they just got this new necklace and I'm at the store, in America, right? Yeah, you would never do that, right? Yeah. I see.
Yeah, so everything's hidden, and they want, where's the safe? They want a safe. So I've got a decoy safe.
You got a decoy safe?
So there's a bit of money in there and other things, but the safe with the firearm, you keep somewhere else.
Wow. So they kind of roughed it a bit.
So that was an interesting situation. They took it into the room and they put my wife and my son on our bed and they put guns to their head. And they were like, straight away they were pointing at me and like, where's the safe, where's this? And I just ignored my family. Like, it was the weirdest thing. It was just something that Soke had kind of, I don't know if he directly, but I just totally ignored them and just like, do whatever you want with them. And I spoke directly to the top guy that was there, and
to the boss.
Right. And the guys with the guns were like, "What are we doing here now?" They actually forgot it and they left them alone.
Oh, really? It
was the weirdest thing, because I think they were expecting me to say, "Oh, please don't hurt my family.
Right.
Don't do this. Don't
get
do
all
that.
upset.
Oh, okay, set whatever you want." I just totally ignored them. I was like,
"You started talking to the boss."
Talking to the boss, and just like, "What do you want? What can we do?
How can we make a deal?"
Exactly. How can we make a deal? And unfortunately, then. We were young, and family was young. We didn't have any money, so I didn't have anything to give them, which is now even worse, because now there's 8 guys. They want stuff. I didn't have money at that stage to.
Right.
So they were like, "Where's the money? Where's the guns?" I didn't want to show them where the guns were. I didn't want to give them any money because I didn't have much.
Right.
And I would have given it to them. It's just money, but I didn't
Right.
have much
Right.
available. And then what actually happened was they started to.
Hey, there's Bob. Welcome,
Hey,
Bob.
Bob. You're
Bob
joining
is
in.
Bob is a therapy dog.
Joining in, therapy
coming
dog.
over here.
So then they decided, okay, well, let's beat it out of him. Hey. So they, and this was also very interesting with the. Hey, Bob.
Oh, she's not coming.
She's okay. You're good dog. Yeah, good dog. Yeah. So they decided, okay, let's beat. So the one guy was a massive Zulu, the Zulu race, the very big guys. So he lifted me up and basically ripped my whole shirt off.
Oh, really?
And threw me on the ground.
Oof.
And we got tiled floors, no carpets. And as I hit the ground, just slid back, didn't do it like full Akemi roll, but just landed and slid. And then all the guys started kicking and hitting and kicking. And it was really interesting because I could just see it there. And I was like watching my son trying to say, okay, it's okay, don't worry. Nothing's wrong.
So you're telling your son,
just relax,
don't
it's okay.
worry,
While they're kicking
daddy's
and hitting,
fine.
Yeah, but like without talking, just.
Okay, you're just eye
like
contact and let him know.
but just while they're doing that. So I don't want him to get stressed because he wanted to come in off the bed.
Right.
I don't want him to come into that mess.
That's right.
So it's like to stay there, it's cool, but not through words.
I see.
So that was very interesting that I could do that while I was being kicked and hit and all the rest. Which was I didn't even know it was possible to do that. and then eventually they stopped because it wasn't doing anything. Because I had one little cut on my leg.
Right.
Like it was just from the boots.
So you were kind of like going with the kicks?
I wasn't trying to stop them. I was just going.
Right.
The guy kicked me to the back of the head and just moved with the kick.
Right.
So it glanced off, and then the other guy's trying to break your ribs. They step on your ribs and kick you. And I had a little scratch just on the knee, on the shin. That's all. From all that kicking, there were 8 guys there. I think there were about four guys kicking me with the big guy watching over.
The boss was watching.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was incredible. I thought nothing broken, nothing damaged.
Broken. Your son didn't
my son didn't run into
that's good.
Yeah, it didn't get hurt.
That's great.
So, and then they gave up doing that because that wasn't working.
Oh boy.
And then I thought, well, what can I give these guys? So I got nothing of value. So I said, would you guys want some computers? Because that's what I do graphic design and things.
Right.
So I said, I've got laptops, computers. Do you want these? And they're like, okay, that's the best they can have.
Right.
So I took them to my office. They took all the laptops, and then they were happy. They had something to go and sell, and took all the phones and that type of stuff. But there was no cash for them, which they really love. The cash is the best.
Yeah. Cash
so
is
now I keep cash with me. It's always just good to have something to give.
So interesting. So now you carry what's your stash that you would give out? Like $100? No. Less?
We had this at that first robbery in the shop. I especially had a box of money, which was in a plastic see-through box, so you could see it. So you could see it was money, and it was all small bills. But because there was a big bulk of it, it looked like a lot of money.
I see. So it's just a big box full of like $1 bills or something.
That type of thing.
And they're like, you got the jackpot.
Exactly, you got the jackpot. So that's how I got them out the restaurant the first time, because I said, "Here's the money."
And they see this big box of just like fluffy money.
They're out of it. Yeah.
So you give them the laptops.
Yeah.
And
now they said, okay, now they're happy they got laptops. Then they decided to tie us up. So they basically took shoelaces. They often use your shoelaces.
They took your shoelaces
Shoelaces,
off?
Yeah. And they tie you with your shoelaces. They tie your
fingers or hands?
Fingers, hands. Yeah. They put your hands together and tie them. Behind your back, obviously. And then they basically, I said to the guy, "Do you want my car? Take it. You can have it." If you want the car, take it. And I said, but there's tracking on it, so just disable it if you want. So the guy took my keys, just threw them away, and then left.
Really?
Yeah. And then once they had gone, then we just untied ourselves and got out of the ropes. And then we had actually a nice dinner. We got everyone together. We cooked some food. Celebrate that everyone's alive.
Celebrate that you're alive, right? Celebrate.
Didn't even bother calling the police until later. Just checked everyone was okay. Made some food and got everyone talking and all the rest, and then later called the police because they can't make a mess anyway. Yeah. And they can come in because for insurance and all that other stuff.
Right. Yeah. Wow. But again, I think a lot of people would have been like, the emotions get involved and like start shooting, and then
you want to get angry and run down there and shoot.
Then you have 2 people on the ground.
Exactly. Yeah.
Dead.
I'm pretty sure they'd be dead if I'd done that.
Wow. So you've got to endure, right?
That's it. Endure.
Our art, right? Coming to the very end.
It was almost when I put that gun under the seat, it's like, okay, I have to do this a different way. It was almost like an acceptance that you're going into danger and have to face it with what you've got.
Wow, man, that's a hell of a story. It shows really a lot of patience and endurance and thinking and planning and balls. You know, like, to be able to endure that, and do it in such a way that they don't really damage you or your family or give them what they want.
It was the amazing thing. Nobody got hurt. Nobody, not one person. Not
especially your precious, family.
Family, I know. For my son
friends,
as well.
of course.
And the nice thing, my son, after that, the way we did it, he wasn't like traumatized. He didn't couldn't go to, he wouldn't sleep at night or, started wetting his bed or stuff like that. He was.
It's probably because of the way you reacted, right? That exactly, way that you were telling me it was okay, without words.
And then afterwards, the family getting together eating and chatting and everybody
just being like normal. You bring it back to
whereas
normal.
Everybody was like shaking and screaming and shouting and stressed and
calling the police right away.
Call the police and I didn't want because he just had strangers in his house. Now you call the police and they're useless. They come here, they'll make a noise, make a mess, and shout and do all their rubbish that they do because they're untrained.
That's an amazing story. There's so many good points to the story, and I hope people listening can kind of understand a lot about that story because some people say, "Oh, he didn't shoot, he did this," but there's so much more nuance in what you're talking about here, and it's an amazing story.
And it just came in the moment. It was like just in the moment. It wasn't planned or anything like that. So I'm just so grateful that I met Tatsumi Sensei because. Like I said, if I'd done MMA, I might have gone the wrong way. I might have tried to just use violence.
Violence and force, right? When you're up against 8
people and they're already in your house with guns to people's heads.
And they've got to drop on you and your friends at gunpoint.
Your friends at gunpoint.
I mean, it's really, that's tough.
It's a very tough situation. Yeah.
Wow, that's a heavy story. I mean, I've heard it before, but it's the first time you were telling it in the dojo. I think I've translated it once or twice.
You did. I had to leave a lot of it out because some of the detail because it's quite a long story.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got the gist of it in the dojo. But,
right.
This is a bit more in depth.
Yeah, Sensei was. I remember that. Grant, tell a story, And I think this is, I've talked to you about it a couple times, but every time I hear it, there's something I'm like, wow, that's especially now that I have a family, right?
That's
when I was single, you'd be like, you could kick their ass or whatever, but
And as a single person, it's actually for me it was easier to avoid danger. I could see it and just slip past and just not be there or just
not be there.
Not be there. Yeah.
This is the way the ninja.
Family, it was difficult because they're there. You can't just leave them.
Right.
I had a chance as well in that restaurant when the guy went. There was a certain space where I might have been able to just get out the door.
Right.
There was a little gap there when the one guy was with the clients, and there was a space where I could have just and
hightailed it.
There was a part of me that was like, I better just. And I was like, no, I can't leave my family.
You can't leave your family. Well, you would have paid for that later on. You'd have ducked out there. If you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps. Also, consider subscribing to the channel. And please leave a comment for Grant or myself. We really appreciate those, and we'll try to answer as many as we can. And if you have the means, please consider supporting the channel financially at the PayPal link in the show notes below. We certainly appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you again. Well, it's amazing. There's a lot of great people over there in South Africa training.
Oh yeah.
I met a lot of them over there. Privileged to meet them. Privileged to train with them. And I really do a video about the bush.
The bush is great.
When Andreas is like, let's just use live rounds and do these room clearing. And I'm like, I haven't used live rounds in a while. Maybe I should just use like airsoft. Nah, I use live rounds. Like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I'm trying to, hard.
It keeps it real because, there's training where you can just become very sort of detached.
Yeah.
And just do whatever. I mean, there's a pace for that as well. I mean, you're learning certain things, but there's a time where it just has to be real. It just has to be so, like on a knife's edge. I
mean, I remember we did that, it was like a 100-meter run where you go down with, behind objects, shoot, reload, and then someone had a misfire there. Who had a misfire? Oh yeah, don't say his name.
Don't say his name.
A misfire in the middle of it, man. That was kind of wild. But you did like a 100-meter course, towards the end, and you know, I was like looking at everybody and thinking, 100 meters, that's not bad, easy, I'll do that, right? Time I got done with that 100-meter course, man, my arms felt like lead.
And your
like,
breath and your heartbeat.
My breath, and I was like I had just like, I don't know, done like, I don't know, some massive amount of like exertion. Exactly, and it was just like a 100-meter walk. Exactly. I said they walk in a park, but it looks like a walk in the park, right? You know,
simple,
you duck down, take 2 shots, reload, boom, get up, boom. And then you're running down, hit the targets, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, it's easy. My turn. I'm like, by the time I get to the end, man, I was like, I needed like a half an hour just like decompress from that run, man. I was like, holy crap, man.
And those are all known targets.
Yeah, those are all the known targets. And that was stressful enough, let alone
when it's unknown targets.
Yeah. I don't want to do that, man.
Which it's good training because it builds that sort of
that stamina. I mean, I only did it a couple times, but I imagine if you keep doing that training, it becomes more and more easy.
Easy, yeah.
But I mean, I hadn't done that kind of live fire training with that amount of complicated movements in it.
Yeah.
You know, I think we even like did a
magazine change.
Magazine change. Did we do it like a jam situation? Like
we did a tap rack,
tap rack and everything. So yeah, that was a great experience. I mean, really, and I appreciate you guys taking me out there. And then the hyenas walking right by my tent at night. I'm like, that's my tent. And it's a big like freaking.
It's a big animal.
It is a big animal, man. I didn't know how big. It's like it's not as big as a lion, but it's big.
It's big, yeah.
It could be a small lion. I mean,
it could be, yeah.
And it's a wild-looking creature. I mean, it's a whole other story, but it's a wild-looking creature. It's like a mongoose. I didn't know that. It's from a mongoose
family, yeah.
My God. we were on the truck, and that little baby
came to smell my foot.
Come and smell your foot. Like, hope he doesn't take a chomp out of that foot.
I must tell you an interesting story that happened last year.
Really?
We often walk on foot, but this time I was actually in a vehicle because I had guests, friends of mine. And we were driving along, and we saw this elephant standing by herself. It's a bit weird. It's like a female elephant by herself. They're normally in a herd. So we stopped, we're having a look, and I'm looking down, and I think, that's a strange-looking rock. It's like a little like rock there. I thought that's... And then it stands up, and it's a little baby elephant. And it still had blood on it.
It was just born?
And mucus. Probably a day old.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I thought, wow, this is interesting. That's why she's away from the herd. She obviously went to give birth.
So I see, because they're not usually away from the herd.
Yeah, they'll normally stay together. So they'll go back to the herd now, but I think to give birth, she went away for whatever reason. She went away to give birth, because she was totally by herself. She had one young, obviously another one of her calves there, but maybe that was 3 years old. And then this day, 2 days old at the most. And I was sitting in the back, and I was looking, and I thought, no. It's going to walk towards me. So this little elephant gets up, he's staggering like this, and he walks straight towards me. And I'm sitting in the back, and he got so close I couldn't see him. So I'm like, where is he? And then this little trunk comes up, and he's like smelling here. It's like this. And I think, okay, now the mother's coming. Because now the mother, she's watching this. So she comes right up. She comes right up to the car. So
was she aggressive? Or?
No, I could tell when she came, she wasn't aggressive. You know, you can get a feeling for, when she came, I wasn't worried because she didn't come with that aggressiveness. I don't know whether she trusted us but she wasn't that concerned. She didn't come storming up to us. But she came at quite a pace.
She was like, whoa, wait,
exactly.
let me even check this out.
She came and just a few things like her tail and that weren't curled up. Like tension.
I see.
So fetal signs you can tell with animals.
Ears flapping. And
so she was calm. You could just feel that she was calm. Yeah.
All right.
And she came right up and she pushed almost like I had to lean like this. And she put her trunk around the little guy and just pulled it out the way, and then like looked at me, and then they just walked off.
Were you sitting in the front chair?
No, I was actually in the back, the last back seat, right in the end. I normally sit in the front. But I could have literally touched her in the eye like this.
Really? That's how close she was.
Straightening my arm, I could have just.
That's how close her eye was to you.
I was looking into her eye, just right there. It was an amazing experience. It was absolutely beautiful. Yeah.
I think, we don't know a lot about animals, I mean, you guys know a lot, but I mean, like in the general population, they haven't had that experience with that world. I mean, for me, getting up to those lions was like insane. That was crazy. Love to tell that story again sometime, but we should do an interview and just talk about the bush.
But that bush,
Let's do that.
So much happens in the bush.
Maybe before you leave, we can do another bush.
I mean, the bush for me is a lot of my training.
Right?
That's where
the tracking
and just that naturalness, your senses, the awareness. I mean, the bush, you always smell or hear things before you see them.
What was really interesting for me is when we were out tracking, looking for, I don't know what we were looking for, I don't know, but all the, and you think you see everything. because it's like, it's like scrub brush, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And we're walking, and and all of a sudden you're like, and I'm like, what? And they're like, over there. And I'm like, what's over there? What? There's nothing over there. And all of a sudden this elephant goes, boom, boom. I'm like, where did that thing come from? Where is that? Was it like behind it? Where did it come from?
Yeah. And they're quiet, eh?
They're
People
quiet.
think elephants are noisy.
I'm like, and then the first time I saw an elephant with no zoo bars,
exactly.
and I'm like, holy crap, it's a massive animal.
It's a massive animal, yeah.
You're like, it could just wander over here or
exactly.
whatever.
Yeah. They're free to go where they want.
Yeah, they are free. We should do another interview before you leave and talk about like the bush. That'd be fun.
It's really good. Yeah.
We'll have.
I'm glad you had that experience.
Yeah, it was great.
It's unique.
Great. We need to. Maybe I can do a Zoom call with Andreas as well.
That'd be great.
I mean, we should get his other interview up and then get that Zoom call up or something, Nick, because it's fascinating.
It's fascinating. Another interesting story.
Okay.
This was not in the bush.
Okay.
But I go running quite a bit, and I take my dog with me, a German Shepherd.
Right.
And I was running down the road, and there was a big Mercedes-Benz coming, one of these SUV types. And I could see the dog barking out the window, because people take their dogs for a walk. They're too scared to walk to the park, so they drive to the park.
They drive to the park. Okay. And the dog has head out the window.
I don't go to the parks. I run around with my dog. It's not so crowded. So I was running down there, and as I was coming towards the car, this dog just leapt out the window.
Was it a big dog or
a big dog? Yeah,
it was a big dog.
I don't know the breed, but it was as big as a German Shepherd.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like a grey dog.
Was the car going at pretty good speed?
It was going at about, I'd say 30.
30? Okay.
Yeah, it would have knocked me flat. So as I was running my dog, I had to just move, and the dog went flying past me. And it hit the ground, and because of the speed, its legs just went and it just rolled back. And then luckily it didn't break anything, and it got up, didn't know where it was.
Right.
The dog was like,
that didn't go as planned. I thought I had that guy. I knew I had that guy.
And then the owner stopped, and then he tried to get his dog. His dog wouldn't even go back to him because the dog was so messed up, didn't know where he was.
He's got a concussion or something, right?
Luckily he wasn't anything broken, but eventually he calmed down, got back in the car and drove off, and the guy's like, apologies. I said, no, it's okay, don't worry. But I mean, that dog, probably, I would estimate 40, 50 kgs. If that hits you flying out of a window at 30 miles an hour, it's going to knock you quite cold. And my dog was like, let's just go carry on walking. It's like, mate, let's see if he's like, it's like, leave the stupid dog.
Your dog is cold-blooded.
Yeah, that dog's cold-blooded.
Yeah,
we're doing it around here, leave the dog.
My God. The South Africa is like what did Dylan said to me something like, life is colorful but short. I'm like,
life is colorful, yeah.
I'm like, damn, Dylan. That's some Zen master stuff, I guess.
Stuff,
But anyways, thanks for coming by, Grant.
You,
it was a pleasure
it was really
talking to you. I think people are going to really enjoy learning about South Africa. If you have any questions for Grant, leave them in the comments below. If you want to meet him, there's some way they can contact you somehow.
Our website, Bujinkan South Africa, or Bujinkan SA.
Bujinkan SA, all right.
Yeah, Bujinkan South Africa, if you Google that, you'll get our website.
And Grant has a beautiful compound. I have some footage. Maybe I'll try to run it at the end here. But is that okay to show some of your dojo and stuff? I mean, it's got a great compound there. And you're right in Johannesburg?
In Johannesburg, yes, in the north of Johannesburg.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Nice dojo over there. So if you want to go out to South Africa, just get a hold of these guys. They're great.
Yes,
and you can train while you're there.
Come visit, Come to the bush. I mean, the bush is amazing.
The bush is amazing. It's otherworldly. Yeah, it's amazing. So, all right. Thanks a lot, Grant.
Thanks so much. That was great.